bring up at the and yes, we will get to it. Fantastic. So okay, so good evening everyone once again. My name is Ijeoma Nwakuche, like earlier introduced by my hosts. It's a pleasure to be here at Song Africa. Nonso knows that I'm actually quite passionate about so this is Chinonso Clark, obviously, in case you don't know her by her first name. She knows that I'm quite passionate about anything that has to do with empowering youth, young adults, young professionals, just capturing that generation so that, you know, by the time that you're at a place later on or a later stage in your life, there are things that you would have seen and heard that sort of shaped you into being a revolutionary leader. And really it's in line with what Song Africa does. Song Africa is trying to raise leaders that are going to change Africa and make us a world-class continent that we are. I mean, we have the human resources, we are blessed with natural resources, we're blessed with bright minds, we're blessed with resilient human beings. You know, the Black man, the Black woman is a force upon the face of the earth, and there's no reason why Africa should not be that force upon the face of the earth, because Africa is made up of we revolutionary, amazing people. So I'm going to get right into it. Ruth says she cannot turn on her camera. Oh yeah, that's fine, Ruth. Whenever you can, please do. And congratulations on your baby. Well done. And everybody else. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my slides with you. Please confirm that I have host rights. Who is my anchor person that I can scream out to if I'm in trouble?
You can scream out to Gary.
Gary, right? So Gary,
Yes.
please confirm that I have host rights. I can share, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So just give me literally 1 second and I will get started. Okay, see it now. Good. Can you see my slides?
Yes, Ma, I can.
Please, you guys talk to me, because I want to hear the voices in here. I want to know those that are here with me. Gary, is participation mandatory? Are some people just here because they know that if they did not come, they won't graduate properly? I don't want that. I want people that are ready.
It's mandatory. We'd love to hear everyone's voices.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm very excited to come to talk to you about leadership and ethics. And I was saying to Nonso that, you know, ethics is such a broad topic. So is leadership, actually. You can be teaching leadership for a year, trust me. I am currently doing my executive MBA. So just a little bit, I mean, I was introduced properly, but maybe a little bit about me. Maybe there'll be some things here that weren't said. At the moment, I am a scholar at the Oxford University Said Business School. And in my, let me put in, yeah, so this is better. So in my school, I'm actually running the executive MBA program. Very intense, very rigorous program. I started in January 2022. One of the core modules that we're doing is a module on leadership. Leadership is a topic that I have, you know, engaged in for so long, learned about, done training courses, taught about it. I run a coaching and mentorship club. It's a free club to raise young professionals. And that one is female focused for now. I don't know if we're expanding into to the males, but for now, the calling is to focus on female. And so one of the main topics that I teach there is leadership, is on leadership. So leadership is something that I have done for so many years, but it is so interesting to see that even as I've started the module, we've had it over 3 modules. So leadership has occurred in my module 1, module 2, module 3, and it's ongoing till module 4, because it's such a broad topic. There are different aspects of leadership, styles of leaderships, methods of leaderships, principles of leaderships, frameworks of leadership. Like it can go on and on and on. And trust me, a 2-hour session is not enough to exhaust it. So we're just going to touch on some key parts that I believe, that I want you to take away with you today. So in addition to school, I'm married. I have 3 children, 3 beautiful children, 2 boys and 1 girl. I live in Lagos, Nigeria. I love to do things like this. I love to pour out wherever I have the opportunity, and I'm very happy to be here with you guys. Okay, so back to our topic. So who is a leader, right? And 1 second, I need to make sure I didn't skip a slide. That's fine. So who is a leader? Can someone share with me what their own perception of leadership is? Whatever your definition is. I know that we have the Oxford Dictionary definition. Of course, I'm going to call Oxford first because that's my school, I'm biased. We have Wikipedia definition, we have the Webster definition, all sorts of definitions. But if you want to speak, you can unmute, tell me what your definition of leader is, and you can type in the chat as well, and just tell me what you think a leader is, okay, or who a leader is. So okay. I'm going to share mine with you. Oh, did someone want to say something?
Yes, please.
Go on.
So I would say that for me, leader. Okay.
It's okay, Ruth. Go on. I don't mind the baby noises.
A leader is someone who is in charge in their area of calling. So everyone in their own area of calling is a leader. That's what I believe.
Fantastic. So a person that is in charge in whatever area that has been given to you, like your own jurisdiction. That's a very good definition. Thank you for that. Chika, I see you. Welcome. Thank you very much. Chika is my sister. Thank you for joining. Chika says a leader is one who influences. Fantastic. I like that as well. Definitely, because you have people following you, and the one impact you should have on them is influence. Ayodeji Dari says a leader is a person who others in a group can look up to for guidance. Fantastic. And my own brief definition as well is a leader is one who is inspirational or influential enough to cause a person or a group of people to follow, learn from them, imitate, emulate, model after them, or after a set vision, right? So basically what this definition speaks to is the fact that you are able to make people, either follow you, maybe by your character or by the things you say or by the power you're able to wield over them, whether a good force or manipulative force, because you have all sorts of leaders and they're able to also model after you or after a set of vision, because sometimes even as a leader, you're leading on behalf of an organization, you're leading on behalf of a nation. And so it's not necessarily your set vision. It may have been a vision that has been set for you. So for example, I may be the founder of a company, but I have a CEO, I hire a CEO, an MD, and I say to him, this is my vision for the company. I want to become a global company beyond Africa and to the rest of the world. I want to be known as a reputable company as opposed to only just profit making. And I expect that that MD and CEO is able to chart the course and make the employees of the company follow that vision. So it's not necessarily his vision, it's my vision. But even that said, it's always a good thing where your vision as a leader aligns with the vision of the organization or the nation. And that way, there's congruence between what you're doing and the job roles that you're serving in. So that's who a leader is. And of course, there are like 1,000,001 definitions of what leaders are. All your definitions are correct. Elizabeth says a leader is a servant. Yes, and that's true. Servant leadership is a very strong form of leadership, and it's actually one that I find to be quite ethical. Ayodeji says a leader is a person who others in a group can look up to for guidance. Okay, so I think I'd read that earlier on. Okay, so now some people, when I started doing courses and lectures on leadership, some people will say to me, well, I don't even know if I should be in this place. A bit of imposter syndrome. They feel like I'm not a leader. And maybe because they have been confined to the definition of leadership because of the environment they grew up in. So you feel like you're a leader when you're a manager at work, or you're the GM, or you're a CEO, or maybe you're the leader of your unit in church. You have to be maybe at the very helm of affairs for you to be considered a leader. But I want to deconstruct that today and say to you, that's not what makes you a leader. You might be a manager at work. So when I say manager, I'm using the term in a very broad sense, whether a general manager, a CEO, an MD, whatever, you're an entrepreneur, you own your own business, or you're the leader of your community, your tribe, you're the local government chairman, you're a governor, whatever it is. And that's fine, you are a leader. And also that leadership is also by function of, it's a functional obligation that you have been given, right? But even if you're not any of those, you may be a leader at home. Ruth is a leader in her home right now. She's a leader over her children. She's a leader over the baby that she's not nursing. She's a leader over the staff that she's employed to work with her, right, in her house. It might be a driver you have. It might be a domestic staff that is helping out at home. Whatever the case is, as a mom, you're a leader. As a team facilitator, you're a leader. You don't even need to be the project head. As a community leader, you might be a member of your estate union, and you've been given a responsibility inside of your estate union, or whatever community you find yourself in, you're a leader. You may be a project leader, whatever the case is. And if you say, IJ, trust me, I'm none of those, then what about self-leadership? Wherever you're going to in life, you can't arrive except you're able to govern yourself, self-governance. And I say that's the most important type of leadership, because it is one that is able to govern his or herself, that is able to lead others. If you do not have a clue on how to manage yourself, you that is the president of your own sovereign nation, then how are you going to be able to lead others? Okay, so your ability to govern and lead yourself will bring you to a place of success and satisfaction. So I want you to tell me in the chat box now, right? Because I said I want this to be very interactive. What positions of leadership have you identified in your life based on these discussions that we've had now? Okay, so it might be I'm a manager at work, or I'm the choir leader in my church, I'm a pastor, I'm a youth pastor, whatever it is. I want you to just sort of drop it in the box for me. I'm a mom. I have a team of staff working with me at home. I'm an entrepreneur. I have 3 volunteers working with me. Let me know what your own leadership position affiliation is. Okay, so Chika is a leader at work. Fantastic. Yeah, Chika works for a Fortune 500 company, and I know that you have a senior position at work there. And yes, and I'm sure, Chika, you have many other leadership positions, maybe as an entrepreneur. So Elizabeth says team leader and self-leader. Fantastic. Elizabeth is a self-leader. And like I said, that's one of the most important. Everyone should be a self-leader, regardless of whatever leadership position you have. So keep the comments coming, and I will just keep moving, okay? Right, so then we go to ethics, because, you know, I was tasked with the topic of leadership and ethics. And I was saying to Nonso, ethics, ethics is a whole world of its own. Like, when you start to talk about ethics, learn about ethics, dive into ethics, you find out that it is so vast. It is so vast. There's even to streamline it is a problem. But basically, ethics speaks about, is it right? Is it wrong? And then some places there are some gray lines. It depends. It depends. By the way, it depends is one phrase in Nigeria that really upsets me. Like, you ask somebody a question, they'll tell you it depends. It depends on what? Like, land the sentence already. Just say it depends. You know, so I'm always like, it depends on what. So anyway, so when I got this picture, I was laughing. I was like, it truly depends when it comes to ethics. And I'll tell you what it depends on. It depends on the context. It depends on the organization. It depends on the nation. It depends on the people. It depends on the personal values. It truly depends, right? So we're going to get into ethics, and we're going to scratch the surface of ethics, because it is important for us to sort of know what kind of leaders. We are trying to raise ethical leaders in Song Africa. We want leaders that know to do right. We are tired of the kind of leaders that we have seen over time in my country, in Nigeria, and in many parts of Africa. And we're saying we want people that would arise into position of leadership. And when they get there, they're not clueless. They know what to do. They know what is right. They know what is wrong, and they have the courage and the will not to do it. Okay. So now when we come to ethics, like I said, it's a whole world of many things. I'm going to read a few definitions in terms of dictionary definitions of ethics, and then we'll just talk about it generally. And I want you to start thinking about what you feel like ethics is. When you hear the word ethics, when you hear this person is an ethical person, what comes to mind? Tell me what comes to mind when you hear the word ethics, okay? Now, the ethics is defined as the moral principles that governs a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. So it governs your behavior or the conducting of an activity. So they're basically moral codes, principles of morality, and it varies for different people. If you're a Christian, there's morality, there's guiding principles from the scriptures that is beyond morality, and that those serve as your principles by which you live by. It also says, Ruth, I see your hand. So I'm going to allow you to speak very shortly. Fantastic. So the branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles, that's what ethics is. So you can't even go into ethics without talking about principles. What are your principles? What are your set principles? Are you a person of integrity? What are your values? What do you stand for? You know, are you a person of respect? Are you big on communication, transparency? You now start talking about all of this. It goes on to say it's a set of moral principles, especially one relating to or affirming a specified group, field, or form of conduct. So here you find out that institutions have different sets of moral principles guiding them. And so what is ethical in one institution is found unethical in another one. And we're going to see some of those examples, right? And it's a branch of philosophy. And you guys know philosophy is like, so philosophy is philosophical. Philosophy is deep. Philosophy varies the different schools of thought. And so why you must have your own guiding principles in your life. What are the things that are important to you? So when you look at this picture here, for example, you find out when it comes to do with ethics, it's a whole world of many, many, many things. We're talking about choices. We're talking about concepts. We're talking about morality. We're talking about decisions. We're talking about principles. We're talking about honesty, right? What is right? What is wrong? What is fair? What is responsible? You know, what does your conscience tell you about this matter? And someone's conscience might be more heightened than another person's own. So, you know, someone can be spoken to in a very disrespectful manner. And you might find me talking about respect quite often because I've realized in my life that one of my core values as an individual, one of the principles of my life is respect, self-respect and respect for others, you know. And so for me, it's one of the first examples that always come to mind. So you're spoken to disrespectfully, and you talk to me in that manner and I'm hurt. Don't talk to me like that. You can't talk to me like that. Why would you talk to me like that? So for me, it doesn't even matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO of my company. You show me respect, right? You might be upset about something without disrespecting me. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't even, Buhari, it doesn't matter who you are. So you find out that when I'm in a place where people are being disrespected, children are being disrespected, he offends me so much. I take it personal. I'm like, why are you talking to him like that? Is it because he's a child? So I'm big on respect and I would respect you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if I'm the one feeding you. It doesn't matter if I'm paying your salary, okay? So for me, I just see that when you are able to define your core values and what principles matter to you, then you're able to start talking about ethics. Because what is ethical to a person is unethical. Then you now find out another person doesn't stand. Like you could talk to them disrespectfully and like water off their back. They continue doing what they're doing. In fact, they will keep laughing with you. So what was that thing you were telling me about? I'm like, this is someone that they just disrespected in that manner. And then you just find out it means nothing to them. So maybe respect is not high up there on their, or maybe their definition of respect is different from mine. So you see, it's quite philosophical in its nature, right? So I'm going to ask Ruth to talk, to share with us what she wanted to share with us. Now, Ruth, you can unmute, please. Hi, Ruth. Are you there still?
Yes, please, ma. So I was just going to say that it's a person's modus operandi, like what they really, the key word for me is value, what you value and what stands out for you when it comes to relating with people, systems, processes, what you really carry as my identity in how you respond and how you are responded to, just like Ma has explained in a much
Yes.
later.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Ruth. Fantastic. Values, processes, all of that are defined by what you believe in, your principles, your concepts, your ideology, and it's important for you to know it. You cannot even attain a certain level of leadership without understanding who you truly are. It is in that way that you even know what types of leadership that you're able to exhibit, and to be the best form, the things that bring out the best in you. So Bralade, I see you. Bralade is my good friend, fantastic human being. And she says you are, so she's saying to me that I'm big on respect. And the key thing that I mentioned is that I just don't want to give it, but I also want it as well. And that's true. I want to give you respect and I need you to give me respect as well. So thank you for emphasizing that, Bralade. So we're going to continue. And this is, like I said, on ethics, what I'm going to do on ethics is I'm going to cause us to start thinking. I want us to think, because ethics is not a thing that you just have, this is the way it's supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to do, it is black, it is white, it is A, it is B. It's a bit more complex than that. So if we're in church, we can bring out the 10 commandments and say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. Even that, the Lord himself found out that it was not as effective with human beings, because like when you drop those laws, that's when you just find out that laws were sometimes really made to be broken. So things like that are not black and white, which is why God now decided, you know what, I'm going to bring them into a dispensation of grace, because this 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, do's and don'ts, it's not working. So I'll bring them into a dispensation of grace where there's grace at work in their life. There's the conscience, the word is in their heart, and their conscience, counsel, the Holy Spirit is guiding them as to what is right and wrong. Okay, so the key thing about ethics is I want to get you thinking. I want you to leave here and having like a heightened sense of a moral compass when you encounter a situation. How do you decide that this is ethical or not, or not ethical? Now I'm going to take you to the UK. The recent COVID laws that were passed technically said, we're okay. We're moving on from COVID, so you don't need to test. You don't need to self-isolate. If you test and you're positive, you're not required by law to isolate. It's not mandatory, but it's advisable, right? So they've now made it free will. For me, I even see it like them moving from the laws, 10 commandments in the Bible from the Old Testament to grace. I'm trusting that you will do that which is right and not put people, endanger people, particularly those that are vulnerable. So, I have just a bit of the news here saying the government has removed remaining domestic restrictions in England. There are still steps you can take to reduce the risk of catching COVID-19. So basically here, it's not law anymore, they're just advising. And when they say that, they now want to say, oh, you could please wear a mask. You could also have meetings outdoor. You should try and get vaccinated, but it's not by force now. And then, BBC goes on to say it as well, that all the restrictions have been removed. Nearly 2 years after the rules were introduced, they've been removed. Now, so my question to you is, now all the rules have been removed. If you're a UK resident, is it illegal to walk around when you're COVID positive? Can someone, answer me? Is it illegal? Is it illegitimate? Are you breaking the law if you're positive and you're walking around? You're positive, you've tested. Does someone want to discuss with me on that? Yeah? No, so Elizabeth said it's not illegal, right? It's not breaking the law. But is it ethical? Is it the right thing to do? Is it morally right when you know that you're just going to endanger a lot of people around you? So Ruth says it's unethical. You might encounter some elderly people that are vulnerable. You might encounter someone that is sick. someone that does not have, that has had pre-existing health conditions. So you might be well and fine moving around, but you now get into a bus and you endanger everybody there. So it's not, so it's a question I'm asking to you. I feel like it's unethical. If you have COVID-19, stay at home and get well, right? But have you broken the law? No. So that's why the topic on ethics are quite interesting, right? Because sometimes you find out there are gray lines. And that's why it takes us back to our side where we said right, wrong, or it depends. So the next one, let's come down to our area. It's not necessarily Nigeria. So some of the Islamic law, Sharia on child marriage. So based on Islamic law, and remember ethics, you speak about ethics in the context of organization, nation, people, tribe, right? And then you as a sovereign nation of yourself, when we're talking about self-leadership or self-governance, then you talk about your own individual ethics. But as people now that are being thrust forward into society, you're going to be talking about ethics. You're going to be required to exhibit ethics in the context of your organization or tribe, right? So now the Islamic law says that when you're talking about maturity of marriage, age is not the criteria. I'm sure for the Islamic law, age is some social construct that they just can't be bothered with. What is important is the girl mature, do you get? And the definition of maturity, in fact, one of the Islamic leaders that was interviewed said, oh, you might find some 14, 15-year-old girl that is big. So he's talking about the fact that she has developed quickly, right? And then, you know, she started her puberty quite early. She's coming to puberty quite early. Now, I have a friend that lives in this Lagos. Her daughter is 10 at the most, because I know she's in about primary 5. And she's already fully formed. She's already started seeing her period, right? Now, my question is, let's assume my daughter's friend's name is Nkechi, and I am a Sharia man. By law, she's mature enough. I can marry her, right? But is it ethical to marry a 10-year-old girl, even because she's reached puberty? So that's another question that I'm going to leave with you, you know, and I would like for you to just drop. I see that Bralade says this example is so poignant, and it's very true, but these are real life examples, right? Gary says, no, it's not, you know, but if he does that, he has not broken the law under which he's governed by as an Islamic man. He hasn't, right? But is it ethical to do that? A 10-year-old is still a child in any shape or form. I don't care if you're wearing a size 32 bra, I mean, what am I saying, 32, 52, or you've started seeing your period or whatnot. And for the men here, I hope you're not uncomfortable because I'm speaking biology here, right? A child is a child, regardless of that. So you begin to ask yourself, is it ethical to do that? So I'm going to share one more example to sort of drive the point on ethics home, right? Now, organizational laws. And it varies for different organizations. I worked with a multinational for about 7-8 years. And the multinationals are quite big on ethics. There's a whole department on ethics. They are like the ethics police of the organization. They roll out policies on compliance. They roll out policies on conflict of interest, all kinds of policies, right? Now, some of the policies say, where I was working, that you're not allowed to receive any gift from any contractor, and particularly because I worked in contracts and procurement. They're like, because you might be compromised, you know, it's conflict of interest. So it started out gradually, don't receive money. Of course, that one, everyone knows that's like bribe. In fact, don't receive any, then they would still allow us receive hampers at Christmas, right? And so people bring hampers, and at a point they just realize that so hampers are huge, impressive hampers, and they realize that some people go all out in hampers. Like you find a hamper that is very expensive, maybe a 500K hamper. So at that point they start saying, hampers can actually be quite enticing. Don't even receive hampers anymore. So they now started tightening it until it now finally became any even corporate gifts. They were like, you can receive only corporate gifts. So we're thinking calendars, we're thinking journals, diaries, key holders, pens, all those little things, right? And then all of a sudden, people start getting really expensive, engraved and embossed diaries. So I'll get a diary with my name embossed with gold on it, you know, and maybe a Mont Blanc pen. And even though maybe they will now try and customize it, so it's a corporate gift in quote because their company logo is on it, but it's a very expensive gift, right? So Gary says there's always a way. Actually, there's always a way. So they said, in fact, corporate gifts, in fact, you know what they now decided to do? They put a limit to it. Anything above $100, and this was when $100 was still, when dollars was still $1 to 150, 200, 300. It hadn't gotten to 500. I can imagine that now they've adjusted it to be less because, of course, the value of dollar to naira is quite high now. Anything above $100, you need to go onto a system and you have to log it. No, anything above $100, you're not allowed to take. Anything below $100, you're going to go onto a system. There was a platform created for it. You're going to log in the item. You're going to send a request to your manager, your supervisor saying, I received this gift from this contractor. These are the items. This is the value. And then he will approve, he or she will approve whether you could take the gift or not. Like, long thing. It was a long thing. In fact, I was like, you know what? I'm not even interested. I don't want. Don't give me any gift. Don't give me any corporate items. I don't care if it's $2 because I'm not ready. I'm busy with work. You now want me to start going online and reporting that you gave me a $5 gift. The stress of imputing all of that is more than $100. So no thanks, I'm not interested. They now said, no, even if they offer you and you don't take, you still have to go online and register that you were offered a gift and you did not receive it. So you see, ethics it's really intense in some places, and in some places it's a bit lax. So now my question to you is, imagine you're not working in that my company, right? You're not working in my company because that my company, they clearly defined it. So you can't say you're not sure. What if you received a random envelope at work that had some dollar bills and hundreds of dollars from a contractor or somebody that is trying to get a business from you? Is that ethical to take the gift? It's just gift. Some people say it's PR now. It's just public relations. It's part of the business. Is it ethical? Can I see your responses? To take an envelope with, let's say there's $5,000 inside or $2,000 inside, and this is someone that is trying to get an opportunity with your organization. Are you guys here with me? Is it ethical? Yes, no? Does anyone want to respond to that?
Okay, so I'll call no because they are trying to get an offer with your company. If they had gotten an offer, then it would be a different case entirely.
What if they've gotten an offer and there's opportunity for renewal of the contract coming up soon? Let's say in 2 months the contract is about to expire. You could either renew it or you could either get it in person. At that time, should you collect that envelope?
Okay, so it's quite tricky. I feel like if there's an offer ahead, it still looks like foul play a bit. Let me just put it that way. So if there's no offer, and let's say they are done with the contract, then it's fine.
Yeah. So you see, that's the thing. When you now even start thinking, you see there are gray lines. So most times people just say, err on the side of caution and just say, you know what, thank you. In fact, I had experiences where someone was trying to, I want to see you. I said, see me for what? He was a friend I'd had from, my former life. But all of a sudden, my new role, he was now a contractor. And he kept trying to see me. I said, I don't want to see you. Why don't you want to see me? You know, my friend. I said, because we were stand right in the middle of the tender. And I knew, he became so desperate. He sent his wife to corner me somewhere just to see me that, you're pregnant, you're going to have a baby now. He's your friend now. He can just give you a gift. I said, I don't want a gift. I don't want a gift. So the guy is my friend. We're family friends. His wife knows that he's my friend. He sends the wife with an envelope and says, you're about to give birth. He just said, he knows you're traveling. This is a gift for you. Why all of a sudden? This is my third child. Where were you when I gave the first child and the second child? Why didn't you give me envelope then when I wasn't doing any business with you? So the lines can be blurry, and you have to have a heightened sense of what is happening around you. And if you pretend like you don't know, then that's where conscience comes into play. When you're talking about ethics, conscience plays a strong part. No matter all the laws, rules, and regulations that you're given, sometimes it gets quite tricky. See some other examples, because I want us to move on from this. I want us to have enough time to discuss other things that I have on the slides. So he comes and says, okay, it's not money. Money seems a bit too obvious. Corporate sponsorship of your charity event. So you're running this charity for widows, it's a noble cause. And then, you know, this your contractor that is looking for a job comes and says, I want to give you $100,000 for this your charity event. You know, I want to support you. And, you know, it gets quite dicey and tricky because this is a good thing, right? But in what context? Is there something he's trying to get from you or she's trying to get from you? All expense paid trip abroad, training, you know? Yeah, you know, we just felt like there was this good course they are doing in Silicon Valley to help you, you know, so are these, you know, tell me, what do you think? Are these ethical to say yes to the all expense paid trip abroad from someone that's looking for something from you that is meant to be competitive? Or let's say, oh, the person is looking for an appointment in government, right? And they decide all of a sudden that that's when they want to be very magnanimous towards everything that you're doing. Okay, what about an envelope on your wedding day or your newborn? Now I want to go and visit Ruth, and Ruth is the president of Kenya, and I want the biggest road contract in Kenya. And I say, Ruth, I'm coming to see your baby. Oh, your baby was so cute online. My heart was just drawn to the baby. And then she knows that I am a client looking for, you know, the contract to get the road done in Kenya, the biggest contract ever, biggest construction contract. And I show up and I give Ruth $50,000 for her baby. Okay, you know, so these are the questions we need to ask. Okay, what about Christmas hamper? Do you get? Then you now say, what value is the hamper? So ethics is a long thing. But what I'll say to you, always have your own moral compass to guide you. So you have the set laws of your land, your nation, your tribe, your organization, but make sure that as an individual, you know what is right, what feels wrong, okay? And then as a Christian, say you're a Christian, what is that thing that you know when you do, you're like, this didn't feel right, right? And in the world, they will call it different things. Some say nothing is a dinner deal, now run, now PR. There are many beautiful names for it, okay? But you need to check yourself and see what feels right, okay? Now, so who is an ethical leader? You know, for me, this was just still part of making us think, right? So Jesus Christ, you know, I think he was an ethical leader, the most ethical leader. And in fact, we should learn what we want to learn from him, right? Mahatma Gandhi, you know, was he ethical? You know, I saw an interesting story of Gandhi, where a woman came and said to Gandhi, look at my son, he takes too much sweets and sugars, his teeth is rotting, you're an inspirational person, I want you to tell him to stop taking sugar, please. I think if he hears it from you, he will stop. And Gandhi said to her, come back in a month. And she was a bit disappointed, like, this is Gandhi, like, come on, tell my child something that will make him stop taking sugar, da, da, da. So she left a bit sad and dejected, but, you know, she came back in a month and she said to Gandhi, we've come back now, you know, like you said, we should. And Gandhi says to the child, bends down and says to the child, you need to stop taking sugar, it's not good for you. And so the woman is like, why didn't you say it a month ago? Like, you know, it's the same thing I asked you to say. He now whispered to her, because a month ago, I was still taking sugar. So you want to be a leader that is practicing what you preach, and you're preaching what you practice. And my friend here, Bralade, is an example of, in fact, she runs a company that says, preach what you practice. So hers even says from the perspective of that thing that you're doing that is good, that is enriching you, that is enriching, talk about it. Share it on platforms, be it, and then also practice what you preach. So for him, he wasn't going to tell the boy what wasn't true to him or what he didn't believe in, okay? So Mother Teresa, Idi Amin, some people feel Idi Amin was a great leader, but was he an ethical leader? Hitler, you know? So you begin to think of ethics and leadership together. That's what this slide is supposed to bring to you. So you might be a powerful leader, you might be a strong leader like Vladimir Putin, right? But are you an ethical leader? You might be a revolutionary leader, innovative, changing the face of the earth with technology. Are you an ethical leader? And I'm not saying that this person is or is not, right? There are some of them that are quite obvious, but there are some that are standing on the line that you're like, when you start hearing of some unethical things that are being done with personal data, and how it's being used to rig elections, how it's being used against people, blah, 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 you begin to wonder, how ethical is this organization? Whether it's Twitter or Facebook or whatnot. So these are questions you have to ask yourself. And like I said, it really depends on the rules of the game. It depends on where you find yourself. It depends on you as well. But to go home with something, a lot of scholars, a lot of school of thought say that leadership, ethical leadership, is hinged on 5 key principles. And these are the ones that have been the most recognized. We can develop them to be more. There's nothing fixed. Trust me, when you lead this class today, build your own pillars of ethical leadership. What does it mean to you? But for the purpose of learning here, the 5 principles that we've been given is that be a leader that builds community. So here, of course, it's talking about people. How are you able to integrate people? How are you able to get people to follow you? How are you able to get people to follow a shared vision, help each other, team spirit, cooperation, collaboration, all that's under building community. Show justice. So are you fair? Is there equity in everything that you do? Are you partial or impartial? Are you racial? Are you tribalistic? Are you inclusive? These are things that you begin to ask yourself. So you need to be that leader that is not impartial, it's not tribalistic, it's not racist, it's not all of this. You're not classist. You show equity in everything that you do, right? Do you have respect for others? Do you have respect for others? Self-respect. The multinational I worked for, one of their core values was respect. I mean, these are people that are drilling oil, barrels of oil. And you begin to wonder, what does barrels of oil have to do with respect? But respect was there. When you're able to build a community that has respect, people respect one another, then you find out that it's easy to follow a shared vision. It's easy to work together. It's easy to, produce innovation, creativity, and to have good performance, okay? And then a good lead, an ethical leader also, or ethical leadership, you manifest honesty. Are you an honest person? See, Gandhi was honest. He couldn't say that to that child until he was able to do that. So he took that 1 month and went off sugar and saw the benefits of it thereof, so that he was able to say to that child from a place of conviction. So do you keep to the books? Are you the leader that steals from the organization? Are you a leader that steals from your nation? Are you a leader that steals from the jurisdiction that you've been given to you? You come into power, you're given the state treasury with, say, 100 billion naira, and you leave it with 220 billion naira debt, and there are nothing to show for it, no investment. What does honesty mean to you? So you need to be able to manifest honesty in everything that you do. You say what you mean what you say, okay? And then serve others. And of course, one of us here shared it earlier on, which is leadership by service. And that's one of the strongest forms of leadership by service. You're able to serve others and not come from an autocratic, I'm the God and all. So this slide is an interesting slide. I was still building it before I had to come on board. It's something I'm going to leave with us. I'm going to share it with the organizers here, to you as a template, as a worksheet. And I want you to build your own ethical leadership framework. That ethical leadership framework, you're going to build it on the manifesto of Jesus. Because for me, like I said, Jesus is the greatest ethical. Ethical doesn't even quite begin to describe the kind of leadership that was manifested by Jesus Christ, right? But we will use ethical for the sake of it and build what a good framework of being an ethical leader is, right? So in here, you're going to put, so the spirit of, I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. So here, the spirit of the Lord is upon me. So here you talk about identity, right? So one of the framework of being an ethical leader is having and knowing your identity. Who am I? Right? So he knows who he is, that he has the Spirit of the Lord. And it was important for him to say it so that you understand the authority by which he is your leader. So you speak about identity here. You speak about, so, and when you speak about identity, break it down to what that identity is. I am a person of value. I'm a person of integrity. I'm an honest person. I draw my identity from God. All of that. Then the second line, for example, it says, no, let me leave the second line. Let's go to a line that says, for example, he has sent me to proclaim good news to the poor. So build a framework that speaks about dissemination of good news. So what does good news mean to you? Are you able to bring to bear to people that are lacking, for example? You're able to equip them and enlighten them with resources that they need. When I say resources, not necessarily money, but intellectual resources, skill sets, empower them that they're able to come out of poverty. And then you speak about it from a leadership perspective. So this is an exercise that you're going to do. It's a take-home exercise, okay? I will drop one example for you and you're going to work on the other. So you're going to break it, we're going to break it down for you. So when you have the line that says, he has sent me to proclaim freedom to prisoners, draw a correlation. What does that mean for you as an individual living in this generation? So when you're talking about prisoners, you're not talking about just those that are in prison. Everybody that has been bound by a shackle. As a leader, it is my responsibility to bring freedom, to bring liberty to those people, okay? So this will be your homework. Where are my people? We're not talking again, no. Am I alone in class? Am I alone in class? Does anyone want to say something? Does anyone want to share something? Does anyone want to ask a question?
You're not alone at all. We're here with you.
Gary, is it only Gary in class?
They are all shy. They make use of the chat room instead.
They're shy. Okay, that's fine. So I will go to the chat room and see what is happening there as well. So drop in any comments, light bulb moments, questions, clarification, anything that you find profound. So what type of leader are you? Now we're bringing it home. Yeah, we've seen all kinds of leaders. And in fact, you know what? This particular slide, I may have to come back and teach this slide the way I want to teach this slide, because it talks about the 6 styles of leadership. These 6 styles of leadership, like I said to you, look, if you go and want to research about leadership, you're going to find 1,000,001 journals on leadership. You're going to see 10 styles of leadership, 27 styles of leadership. This one, for me, is one of my favorite because it is leadership that has been coined. The styles of leaderships have been created on the basis of emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence has been found to be one of the most powerful tools that a true leader needs to lead effectively. So when you go and read all them Harvard Business Reviews, all these educational researchers, organizational culture people, they will speak about how emotional intelligence may just be one of the most relevant skills required of someone living in this generation, working in an organization, running your business, running a nation, or whatever it is. And so the principles of the styles of leadership have been developed based on emotional intelligence by Daniel Goleman, and he has a book on it called The Primal Leadership. So if you want, you could pick up that book, read it, learn a bit about it. So it's Goleman and et al. He had a few other people that wrote it with him, right? But it is something that is quite interesting to see. And what he teaches here really, and I really like for you to learn, because I've actually applied it and seen it function in various areas of my life, is that you don't need to choose one style of leadership and become that style of leadership. There are various styles of leadership. And I want you to also understand that there's some leaderships that you're looking at this here, you're like, commanding leadership, it sounds as if it's already bad. You need to remove that mindset, because there are times and places where you require a commanding leader. There are times and places where you require a democratic leader. But some of us have sort of, we have this narrowed mindset because of maybe the way we have been taught, like democracy is good. And so when we think of commanding leadership, particularly some of us that live in countries that have had maybe the military presidents, you just feel like commanding style leadership is bad, but it's actually good in certain places. So it's just for you to know when and how to use it. And so for me, there's an overarching type of leadership called situational leadership. Your ability to know when to apply what type of leadership in what situation, depending on the team that you have, depending on the context that you're in. And sometimes it might be the same organization, but you need to know when to move from democratic style leadership to commanding style leadership. So now democratic style leadership, for example, speaks about, it's democracy. We want power to the people, come one, come all. You sort of have to carry everybody along. There's a consensus, there has to be a consensus, so we want to change our company mission, and we want it to be something that is now that we are no longer in just Congo, but we want to also do the rest of West Africa. And we want everybody to sort of align, so maybe senior management and everybody, and you now want it to be voted upon. Whereas, your CFO is looking at the books and like, the business we're doing is no longer profitable in Congo. The only way that the company is going to survive is if we extend our reaches to the rest of West Africa. So at a time like that, you now have someone that is not interested in Angola, that is not interested in Nigeria. You don't want to do that where you're now seeking for consensus from everybody. So at a time like that, you might now want to start deploying other types of leadership, visionary. So you share with them a vision why you need to expand beyond Congo and take it to the rest of Africa. If not, we will not survive. Commanding leadership, for example, speaks about your ability to be your additional others. It's not in every context you can use it. It works very well where you have low skilled workers. So the workers are not experts in their field. You can't carry out commanding leadership when you have people that are, authorities in their own rights. You're just going to have a very toxic environment and a toxic culture. So you want to have the kind of leadership, commanding leadership, for example, where low-skilled workers, you have rules and regulations, you have directives, things have to be done quickly. Commanding leadership, you see that play in the military as well. It's not a time for you to start doing coaching and start doing affiliative, everybody come together, democracy. No, you say, we need to move. Commanding leadership, you find it very useful in times of crisis. There's a decision that has to be taken, it has to be taken now. So you find out that there's the pros and cons. Affiliative leadership is the type that it's people-focused, people-centric. It's about building relationship. It's about making sure that everybody is bonded in sync, in harmony. Together we produce results. It's good, it builds team spirit. It builds oneness in an organization. Strong interpersonal skill is required for you to be able to do this. And you need to know when to use it, right? But at the same time, it has its cons as well. Times that you need to take decisions very quickly, and the times that you have to be task and goal-oriented as opposed to people-oriented, because there's a time-bound task at hand that is critical, right? And like I said, I'm not going to go deeply into all of this because it's a lot. There's so much to learn from it. And, maybe somewhere down the line, I'll speak with Song Institute, and I may come and spend some time on these 6 styles of leadership and just talk about the core of the leadership, their pros and cons, when to use it, how to be effective on it. But I want you to pick up on it and go and learn more about it, right? And like I said, you could pick up on the book Primal Leadership, or you could check for some Harvard Business Reviews, which I hope you guys are subscribed to. Those are good, they're very good reading and learning materials. As a leader, you have to be on top of your game. You need to know what's happening in the world, not just in your local space. You need to be an informed leader, right? And so you pick it up. He wrote a Harvard Business Review on it as well. Are you a pace setter? You're a high achiever and people are learning from you, right? Or you're a visionary. So visionaries are the ones that are very long-term. They see a future, they're carving a future for the people, for the organization. And sometimes they might not be focused on the short term. So you find out that if they're critical short-term goals, those goals are sort of sidelines and fall through the crack. So the best way is, make sure you complement yourself. If you're a visionary leader, for example, you complement yourself with a leader that is either maybe a pace-setting leader that is also big on achieving goals, so that there are no loopholes, right? And then sometimes you can be a coaching leader at the same time, where you have the luxury of time to build character, even as you're trying to get a goal, achieve a goal. You're coaching your team members, you're developing them, you're building character. And it's such a powerful type of leadership because it enables you to be able to leave legacy. When you leave that place, people are able to work like based on the templates and structures you set for them. And if you're a good leader, they're able to work like you, okay? And I think Jesus was a coaching leader, really. He was able to raise the 12, and the 12, raised the 70, and then the 70, and everybody just sort of there receiving the gospel. And today there are a lot of us that are still living the life of Jesus because he spent time to coach the disciples. Discipleship is a form of coaching and mentoring, and he was a visionary leader as well. He was inspiring people and making them see the things to come, the glory of the age to come, right? He was a pace setter, and that's why he was able to pay a price and make a sacrifice. So these are the styles of leadership, and we will come back to them at some later date, some later time in life. Okay, because I want us to have enough time to sort of discuss, maybe also ask questions as well, and I'm a bit conscious of time. So we have here in a nutshell, when I've gone through different styles of leadership, I've gone through different types of leadership, different types of leaders, studied different types of leaders. And one thing I see that is quite, some principles that I see that keep reoccurring are the principles that I'll be sharing with you here. Some of them we've touched on them. So I speak of identity, and I really hope, and Gary, maybe you can respond to me on this. I hope that there's been some sort of course or coaching given to, the participants of Song Africa. And even if you joined, even if you're not a part of Song Africa, but that has to do with identity, like who am I? Who am I? Because you cannot speak about leadership in any form without even understanding who you are. And we've talked about it before, your values, your ethics, your principles, right? And Gary, so if it's something that hasn't been done, I would suggest that we do, we come up with a program, a curriculum on identity. Is so powerful. It will help people to discover who they are. There are some very good, in fact, my friend Tombra is an identity coach, right? In fact, talking about which, I'll come to it. It's an identity coach, and I know she teaches people to be able to, you need to understand the things that drive you so that on the basis of that, you're now able to lead other people and lead change and lead transformational change, okay? So are we here? Thumbs up if we're here. Are we here? Everyone on here still? Hello, good, okay. So Gary, okay. So is that thumbs up, or you want to say something? You can unmute. Okay, thumbs up, fantastic. Thumbs up, Precious. Okay, you're here. Can I see thumbs up from the rest of you? Ruth, are you here? Who else? Let me see. I'm going to start calling all your names out. Yeah. Omolabake, you've not spoken. You've not commented. I want you to participate in today's class. Precious work here. Okay. And I'm just admitting a few other people in. So Elizabeth has shared a bit. So please feel free to use the chat and share even as we're speaking. So be a visionary compass. And we spoke about it. You have to be a visionary leader. Communicate clearly. You cannot be a leader if you're not able to communicate clearly. Every leader over time, over generation, you will find out that those leaders that have been very effective is because they have the power of communication. Your ability to tell the people that are following you, this is what we are. So there's a vision, for example. Are you able to clearly communicate that vision, whether verbally or whether in writing or whatever form? Part of communication is your ability to listen. Are you a good listener? Are you able to hear what the people are saying? Tomorrow, some of us here are going to go into politics. We're going to go into leadership positions. We're going to be governors. We're going to be presidents of our nation. Are you able to feel the pulse of people? Are you able to do a temperature check? Because you cannot communicate properly if you have not listened properly, okay? I also tie to emotional environment and emotional intelligence. Are you able to read the environment? Are you able to read the room? Are you able to know what's happening? Look at all the great leaders from the past. Think about them. Odumegwu Ojukwu, Winston Churchill, Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, you know, they were all great communicators. And you know, a leader is not able to lead properly if he's not able to communicate. Okay, so I find out that at work, I spend a lot of time speaking to my team and to the people around me. I need them to understand what is happening. Don't leave people clueless, and let them to begin to think about possibilities that don't exist. And that starts to cause a discordance in your organization or in your people. And we've seen a lot of times where breakdown in communication causes problems for us here in Nigeria. Big problems. There'll be an issue. There'll be, maybe there's been a bomb blast like the last one that happened 3 weeks ago, and people are dead. The president doesn't come out to say anything, days, for weeks. Or there's, you know, headsmen killing people, and doesn't come out to make a speech, doesn't come out to say anything. So there's a lot of unrest, and people are unhappy, people are dissatisfied. I'm like, what is happening? So communication is key. Every organization I've worked for, the ones that have structure, they take out time and train their CEOs, their MDs on how to communicate. You know, we run mock trials for them, mock press conferences. I remember then in Total, I was part of some of the team that would help to train the MD. And they'll say, okay, for example, there's been a blowout at Akpo FPSO. That's the floating production that we have offshore. And, you know, Oga, come and tell the press, come and speak with the press. And some of us will be there, we'll be pressmen, presswomen. And we say, no, Total, you people are trying to kill all the fishes in the sea. You're trying to, and we are teaching him how to respond, you know, so there are consultants that teaching them how to respond and say, when the press comes at you, you should have a clear message. This is what we're trying to communicate. Don't get deterred, don't get distracted. Communication is key as a leader. And so if you also feel like I'm not a great communicator, you can get set up a proper communications department, corporate comms. They sit down with you when there's a time that you have to have a speech. They write it with you. You know, they tell you body language, how to, when to talk, when not to talk, eye connection, all of that, official communication, written communication, how it should go out. You outsource the ones you can't do. And then the times that you need to learn, you go and learn. We have a lot of people that teach communication skills, and there are a few of them. Brother, if you're still on, please drop some of their names for me, because I know you're my encyclopedia. You have your resource center. But I know there was a time, just like Joyce Daniel is, I don't know if she's still in that line of business, because I know she's transitioned into politics. But there's Joyce Daniel, she teaches on communication, you know, talkologenic. I think that's what her company is called. And you have many others like her as well. Go and learn, get a coach, get a trainer. We've spoken about emotional intelligence, show empathy. In the world of today, empathy is one of the greatest gifts that you can have as a leader. With what has happened with COVID, with the wars, pandemic days, if you're not able to show empathy, you're not able to lead, because people got to a breaking point in their life. People were able to stand up and leave their jobs. We saw mass resignation, particularly in the US or on a global scale. People just realized, if you cannot show me empathy in such a difficult time, where the whole world, you know, COVID taught us that, look, nothing really matters though in life anymore. It's just really you staying alive for yourself and for your family. So people were able to stand up and leave their jobs without attachments anymore. People were able to realize that they could work online. Well, I can leave this job and get a job and be a virtual, you know, staff online. And so an organization or a nation that is not able to show empathy to its leaders will lose, to its followers, would lose its followers. Empathy is a strong one, okay? So growth and self-improvement, constantly improve yourself. Go back to school, get a degree, get a certificate course on whatever it is you want to do. You want to specialize on policy making. You want to specialize on public health. What have you done about it? You know, research, find out the schools or the organizations that are giving the certification on it, and go and get yourself a coach, get yourself a mentor, get yourself a trainer, you know, but be constantly improving yourself. I said to myself, look, I need to get into a level where I understand business and organization back to back. There's no part of growing a business. There's no part of developing a business. There's no part of it that I don't know. And that's why I went back to school to do my executive MBA. I said, by the time they finished teaching me firms and market, microeconomics, business analytics, leadership fundamentals, government and ethics, by the time they finished, I am a well-rounded entrepreneur. I'm a well-rounded business person. That's what I want for myself. And also when it's time for those platforms that are raised and said, we are looking for someone that has the skills in this and has this type of profile, I'm ready, because I have made a commitment to myself that I'm going to constantly improve myself. Some people say, IJ, how are you doing it? But you already have a good job now. You're a general manager. You've worked for multinationals. Your career path is good. I have some certificate courses that I've either done in Harvard or somewhere, and you like book. Oh. It's not that I like book. It's a lot of work. If you look at me, I have bags under my eyes. I sleep 3 a.m. There were mornings that when I was submitting an assessment, I did 12 hours stretch, back to back, nonstop. My husband was looking at me like America wonder. Like, after that, they were like, you mean you had this kind of capacity? From 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., I was in this study. The assessment must go in. The assignment must go, and must go in well, you know. And the next day, the same thing. I did 2 12-hour slots back to back in 2 days. So I don't know anyone that likes that kind of stress. And me in particular, I like sleep. Sleep is a thing for me. Those in my family know I like sleep. But you know, I'm in a period in my life where I'm like, I want to grow and improve myself. I want to do it, and I want to do it well. And so I chose one of the best schools in the world. And I'm going to do it well and say, you know, I've done this for myself. This is for me. Next time when I'm standing before someone, negotiating a deal for myself, negotiating a business deal for myself, you can't underprice me, because I have invested in me. I have invested in me. So as a leader, you need to invest in yourself so that, you know, you become worthy of your calling. You become worthy of your calling as a leader. You know who you are. And then develop track records. This thing is important. You see this track record one? They say, how will we start? Just start. Start. Look for a platform where you can start showing your leadership skills. And if you cannot find a platform, look for a friend. You must find a platform. There must be a friend doing something or somebody doing something. Go and volunteer to help. Because let me tell you, the only time that you are constantly being called, constantly being recognized is because you have a track record. But someone say, but who will call me now if I've not done it before? You have to jumpstart it. You know, like a car, sometimes if the car refuses to start with just the engine, you jumpstart it, you get a wire, get it from another person's battery. That mechanism of getting that other person's battery that is working well, you now use that jumpstarting cable. You guys know the cable I'm talking about, or you guys don't have cars that sometimes need jump starting. I know you all drive brand new, tear rubber cars. They don't have any issues on the road. But if you have a car that you've used for a while and the battery is going down, you get a cable and then, say we do, you get a cable and you jumpstart your battery. That is what I mean. Jumpstart your track record. The first speaking engagement I went for, I'd said to my friend, I'm interested in speaking, you know, there are all these things in my head, I learn, I know, and I feel like, I mean, you know, if there are opportunities to teach people, because sometimes you just feel like the things you know, you feel like everybody else knows, you'll be amazed the things you take for granted that people don't know. You just take it for granted. Then you are given a platform and you're teaching, and people are like, wow, oh my God, this was so profound. Madam, I heard you speak about this the other day and it changed my life. Meanwhile, this is something you've been doing since the womb, since you came out from the womb. So don't take your knowledge for granted, please, my people. Build a track record for yourself. Find someone that is doing something, has a platform, volunteer, go and be a voice, go and be a helping hand. You might be doing back-end work initially, you might be doing behind-the-scenes work, but start. And then gradually you find out that you find yourself at the forefront, okay? Interpersonal skills, very important as a leader. You can't do anything if you're not able to communicate with people. This is like, I'm just an introvert. I just like to keep to myself. nobody should talk to me, all that. You can't be an effective leader if you're not able to. It doesn't mean you have to be extroverted and be he, ha, ha, but you need to know when to engage with people. You need to know when you walk into a room, the people to speak with. You need to know when to smile. You need to know when to exchange contact. You need to know when to say yes to a coffee invitation to go and have coffee. It's not every time it's I just want to do me. You can't be a true leader when you're just doing me. You need to know, people need to be able to like you. Likability is a key skill for leadership. So you have to have interpersonal skills, okay? And then these ones as well are a few principles. I'm going to go through them very quickly because I see, you know, I know the session is, and Gary, please confirm, the session is from 6 to 8, right? I'm still good on time, but I want to make sure that I've gone through my slides properly. It's 6 to 8, right, Gary? Okay. So now I'll wait for Gary to confirm, but I'll keep teaching. So principles for successful leadership, still on it. Know your onion. You cannot be a clueless leader. You need to be technically proficient. What is the field that you've been called to? Are you the person that is in charge of the team rolling out policies with regards to the election coming up, or you're rolling out processes and procedure, or are you the person that has been tasked with the responsibility of migrating all the database in the company into a new software? Be technically proficient. As a leader, you may not know everything, right? You may not know everything about everything, but you also need to know, and it's one of the things we're going to discuss here, you need to know your team, know those that have the skills you require at the time you require it, and you work with them, okay? But you need to at least be knowledgeable in your field of expertise. Because when you're a clueless leader, when you're talking, my friend there's a company she works for, and she keeps saying to me, in one of their departments, the number 2 guy is the guy that knows everything. He is the person that carries all the risks, you know, makes all the sharp moves to the company. His boss is more or less like a figurehead. The level of disrespect is out of this world. That this man can get away with almost anything. That's this number 2 guy. Talks anyhow at meetings, very unruly. His boss is not able to call him to order because his boss has chosen not to know the job. Does not know the job. So number 2 guy knows that I have this guy where I want him. He can't sack me, I'm too much. Please be a knowledgeable leader so that your team people are also inspired by you, okay? You cannot be inspirational if you don't have anything to give to them. Be accountable and be responsible. Don't be like some of our politicians. So not all, some of them, no level of accountability, okay? Be exemplary, result-oriented. It's all about the results, really. You can be a good interpersonal person, you can be all these beautiful things we've spoken about, but if you're not able to deliver at the end of the day, your results will speak for you. So they better be speaking well for you, okay? Build your team. You need to drive team efficiency. And the only way you can do that is know who your strengths, your weakness, the weaknesses of your team members are. Know what they are, and then make sure that they're able to leverage each person's strengths and resources. Know when to use who for what project, right? Know your frontliners. Who are your people? The people that you know that they will hold your back. And when I talk about your team, it's not necessarily only your team at work. Who are the people you surround yourself with? Who are your friends? Who are the people that enrich your life? Who are the 12 most important people in your life? The first 3 and the next 12. I want you to do a matrix. And in that matrix, put yourself in the center. Do your 3, your core 3. Who are they? And your core 12. And then, you know, make sure that when you look at that list, are you happy? Are these people that are bringing, you know, value to me? Are these people that together we are sharpening iron, right? Are we building each other? Are we enriching each other's lives? You know, you can even begin to write out the things you like about these people, their strengths, their weaknesses. So the day I need someone to help me through a difficult situation, I call this person, right? I have my people, I have my sisters. My sisters, the 3 of them were about the same age. And so we're not the same age, but like the same age rate, 2-3 years apart. I know who to come to when I'm having like an emotional breakdown, like I'm just tired, I don't know what to do, you know, and she's like my counselor, you know. I love her so much, Chika. And then, you know, I have my sister that is intellectual. She's very smart, very resourceful. When you're talking about anything that has to do with organization, business, career, she's just a resourceful person. She's deeply spiritual as well, filled with the word and knowledge, you know. And so I go to her, my older sister. And then I have another sister that is bam, bam, bam. She's a go-getter, very decisive, you know, she's able to spot, she's very critical as well. If you have a document, you want her to go through it. If you have a concept you're building, a flyer, she's able to spot out where you need changes and all of that. And then I have sisterhood outside of my sisters, my friends, Tombra, Bralade, Allah, I have Bambi. There are many of them. They just enrich me, a Biere, you know, Chrissy. And they're my frontliners. When I'm doing something here, hey, one of them was on here earlier on. They're cheering me on. They're telling me about it. They're even telling me, what about that book you said you will write? You know, when are you publishing it? They are the people that are spurring me on, you know, and when I see them, they're like my fire lighters. They're lighting my fire. I'm thinking, what next, what next? You know, and even when you finally find yourself in that position of leadership, don't surround yourself with psycho fans. Surround yourself with a core team that will tell you the truth, that will nudge you forward, and that would propel you into greater heights as a leader, okay? Legacy, build capacity. Build capacity within your team. Don't be that leader that says, when I leave this company, everything's going to fall apart because they did not value me. The hallmark of a true leader is that you were able to set up system structures, framework that others can continue your good work. Don't be that person that after you left, the road contract, the train contract, everything was just kept to the side. What are the things? So it's not, so that's the thing where you now have to understand the role you play as a leader. You can't only always be an affiliative leader that is people focused. You have to be a leader that also builds structures and processes so that even when the people that you have put in place or you yourself have gone, the good work continues. And then there's a special one I call deploy CAPS. CAPS is an acronym that I coined, and I want you to always remember it like a cap, right? Your leadership cap or HATS, CAPS, right? Co-parenting. So for example, if you're a parent, I'm telling you, for you to be able to do all the things that are required of you as a leader, you actually really need someone helping you and supporting you. And if you're not a parent, collaboration, and it's what we've spoken about in who do you surround yourself with. There are times that you need people to help support your the personal aspects of your life so that you're able to, you know, be at the forefront of the assignments that have been given to you. And so with me, with co-parenting, you know, I know that there are many times my husband has to be there like that to make sure they've done their homework or they are well and they've slept on time, and just being a parent to them because maybe I've traveled off to Oxford for my module, you know, and so I'm blessed to have him there doing that as well. Then adaptability, know when to change. And that's where we talked about situational leadership. Know when to be, there are times where, you know, you need to burn the midnight candle, then you know when you're burning out and you know what, I need to take a break. I need some rest and refreshing. I need to go on a holiday. I need a retreat. I need a spa. You need to be able to know when to navigate your organization, navigate yourself, and just to make sure that you are constantly burning. If not, you burn out as a leader, because the responsibilities of a leader are huge. They're enormous. And if you're not able to pace yourself, you know, through your ability to adapt to situations, you will burn out. Know your priorities. That's the P. You can't do anything right if your priorities are not set right. So even from an individual level, what are the things that are priority to you? My family is my core. Anything it begins to separate me from my family, I start to shift the thing down the priority list so that, you know, I can gain harmony. Because when my core has been shifted, I can't function well as a leader. My home front has to be sound. You know, my children, my husband, everywhere, all have to be. Then that way, I'm able to function well in every other assignment that you have given me. The core of me is my faith. I need to be able to connect with the Lord. He's my priority, he's my all. You know, I need to find time for worship. I need to find time for prayer, reading the word. I need to be in good relationship with him so that way I'm able to function. And so it's important. You're not doing it from a selfish perspective. You're doing it so that you can also better serve, right? And then the S is your support structure. This one speaks to outsourcing. The ones you can't do, get someone that can do it for you. There's some responsibilities in your life that you can't outsource. I can't outsource being a mother. I can't outsource being a wife. I will do all those ones. My key responsibilities at work, I can't outsource. Because there are things I can outsource. There are some things that, like, if my children are writing exams and I can't really be there to help out with the nitty-gritty of their study, I can get a tutor. It's okay. Don't kill yourself about it. You know, it's about times and seasons. There'll be times to where you'll be there to do everything for them. You can outsource the cleaning of your house. Hey, if you're married to a man that feels like your core responsibility as a wife is cleaning house, you now have to all come to terms with the fact that you'll be called a lazy wife. But at least you will have peace of mind and you'll be able to function in other areas that are more important than cleaning the house. Do you understand? Because when you're doing it, sometimes you might get resistance from other people, like, this is something you're supposed to be doing, but no, you can actually outsource some things. You know, that's why people sometimes get travel agents. Not that they can't go online and look for the flights for themselves. They can. But sometimes, you know, you're moving from BA to Virgin to KLM to Air France, checking the price, checking the conversion, MRO. You're like, you know what? I can't deal. You know, travel agent, this is your expertise. Do it for me. And then you save some time and you drive efficiency. Guys, are you here with me? It's quiet. You guys here with me? Does someone want to say something, share something, ask a question? Gary is here with me. Who else is here with me? Let me see. I'm going to pull up my, because at the point, I'm not even seeing you guys again. I can, okay. Does someone want to share anything? Ruth, Elizabeth? No? None. So.
Right. So they've most of them, I think they've dropped off, but I have actually been enjoying this session. One of my contributions would be, because I was thinking about all that you shared, would be resilience. Now, I know that a lot of young people, sometimes when they go through difficult situations, even when it comes to self-leadership, it's easy to get depressed or get tired or give up hope. Now, one thing that I know that we need in our world today, especially what COVID has taught us, is that we need resilience. We need to be able to, you know, stay the long haul and bounce back when we go through difficult challenges. And of course, there's the part of being adaptive as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, so I can see that Elizabeth is back on. Is she? I don't know. Anyway, so that's one of the things I was actually thinking about, and I thought to just contribute. But yes, I'm really enjoying this session and thinking about certain adjustments that I need to make. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So you're right. Resilience is high up there, particularly in the world we live in today. And I think if you know, it's correlated to adaptability. You know, your ability to adapt. My friend Tombra is called a resilience coach, you know, and she teaches on your ability. She calls it your bounceability, your ability to bounce back from whatever life throws at you. Because this, you know, in the world all over the world this season, I don't know that there's anybody that hasn't experienced some sort of hardship, particularly with regards to the pandemic. You know, some people lost their jobs, some people lost loved ones. You know, some people lost, you know, confidence in just moving around. Some people had mental breakdown. I know some people that have had an emotional unwellness since COVID started and they've not recovered from it, right? And so resilience helps us in a time like this to sort of bounce back and live life optimally, okay? So thank you so much for sharing that. So another one that I don't have on the slide actually is boundaries. Your ability to set the right boundaries, because when you don't set boundaries, then everything and anything just comes and floods your space, and then you become overwhelmed and inundated as a leader. And so you need to know when to tell who to give you some time, give you some space. You need to know when, boundaries is not just about keeping the bad stuff out, like my friend Bralade will teach. She's a boundaries coach. It's about preserving the good stuff in. So sometimes when you speak about boundaries, people feel like you're trying to keep people out. No, it's also about preserving the good stuff that is within so that it can continue to thrive and be good. So these two ladies, I'm going to share with you their books here, because coincidentally, as I was setting up the studies, I was like, my two friends, they're my frontliners, right? And let me see, hold on one second. I want to see. Can you guys see the books that I'm showing right now? This is a book called A Line in the Sand. Fantastic book. This is the hard copy. It's on Amazon. It's on different places. It teaches about boundaries. My friend Bralade, the one that was on here, I think she's dropped off now, wrote this book. It became an Amazon bestseller in 24 hours. And it's focused on marriage, right? But it's a book that teaches about boundaries generally. So when you're reading, you don't need to read it in the context of marriage alone, relationships. So when I speak about relationship, not just boyfriend and girlfriend or fiance relationship, relationships at work, with your bosses, with your subordinates, with your team members, how to develop healthy boundaries so that you can live a healthy life, live optimally, and serve optimally as a leader, okay? So I would absolutely recommend it. Fantastic book. And then Tom Bragg, also spoke about resilience, and I spoke about Tom Bragg, that she's a resilience coach. She wrote this as well. This was released this year. A Line in the Sand was released last year. Talk about resilience in the midst of COVID. She was writing her book and publishing it and becoming an Amazon bestseller. Some other person somewhere was like, the world is turning upside down. I'm down, I'm depressed, but someone made good of it. That's what resilience. Sombra, the resilience coach, wrote a book, How to Be Unstoppable and How to Lead 6 Pillars for Living an Unscathed Life and Activating Your Higher Self. Amazon bestseller, was on the list for maybe 3 weeks. These are the people that I have as my friends. They're my friends. I'm proud that they're my friends. Those are the kind of people you should have. I'm bragging with it because I'm trying to tell you that my network enrich me daily. They enrich me. I want those kind of people around me that inspire me. So please check around you and make sure you have those people. Okay, so we're wrapping up, and I'm sorry guys, I can't teach you guys the Jollof methodology today because I can see that a lot of people have dropped off, and it's possible that our energy levels are waning. So I'm going to leave the remaining few minutes for our discussions, our interactions, our questions, and I would just really want it to be a free open session. You can unmute your mic and we can just generally speak. I will just show you what the Jollof methodology is about. I may think about sharing it. I need to copyright it first. But basically, the Jollof rice framework teaches you on how to be a good leader by your cooking skills. Your ability to cook jollof rice can actually show you the roadmap to becoming a great leader. So if you don't know how to cook jollof rice, my people, Gary, this is why you're laughing. Is it possible that you don't know how to cook jollof rice?
Oh, no, I'm a very good cook, please.
You're going to cook and send to me. That's the thank you I want. So if you're a guy on here, I'm like, which one concerns me with jollof rice? You better go and learn, because there's a jollof rice framework that teaches you how to be a good leader, and it's a framework that, came to me. I put it up, and, my friends have said to me, go and patent it, go and copyright it, and it teaches you how to, all the things we've taught, basically, it just teaches you the stages and when to apply them by virtue of you knowing how to cook jollof rice. So that's it. Like I said, I'll think of sharing it. A few inspirational quotes that I shared here on communication. For example, what John Maxwell says, listen to the whispers so that you don't have to hear the screams, and so it talks about your ability as a leader to be able to listen when people are complaining, when people are dissatisfied. They may not always say it with their mouth, but you see it in dropped efficiency, you see it in body language. Like me now, I'm listening, I'm sensing that it's time for me to end the lecture, okay? And let's just talk now. So when you listen to the whispers, you won't need to hear the screams, because people won't need to scream. Okay, and then many other things that I would like to share this one on track record by my very good friend, Pastor E.C. Igeneba. And she said, it is the testimony of your previous service that qualifies you to make history. For he that is faithful with little shall be faithful with much. The reward for hard work is more work. And I'm tying it back to when I said, look for something to do that will propel you in the direction that you want to go. Speak about it, volunteer. When I say speak about it, tell people around you, I'm interested in this kind of work. If there are opportunities, let me know. Volunteer with people that are doing stuff, and you find that you begin to build a track record for yourself. Okay, so thank you very much. My actual presentation is done. The session is not necessarily done. I want to say that knowledge is of no value unless you're able to put it into practice. So I want us to use this session and just talk, feel free to mute your mics, and then let's just, if you have a question as well, it's an open house session now. Thank you very much. So I'm going to stop sharing as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so before we go, I will just say a couple of things that sincerely I was inspired. If I had to comment that every single time I got a particular word, I think our comment section would be like so full. So yes. So thank you very, very much. Please, if you have any questions, do well to use the chat room. If you don't want to unmute your mic, but we'd love for you all to unmute your mics anyway. I feel everybody should have something to say from this session. So I'll start calling everybody's names one by one. Dara, are you here with us? Just tell us a bit, a thing or two, what's your take out from today's session? So every other person get ready, because I'll get to your turn. So Dara, are you here? Okay. Okay, I don't think Dara is here. Okay, Elizabeth, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
All right, so I see you have been having a lot of things to say on the chat room, so please, the floor is yours.
Okay, I actually have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say that you have a track record, you volunteer for organizations and all, but you still seem not to feel fulfilled, like you are stuck in a place, you're not going forward, but then you have experience, but then you don't know the right, I don't know how to put it, like you don't have the right opportunities, not really right opportunities, like I think that you're volunteering for almost everything, and then you don't know what to go for, you don't know your field, you're just confused, like what should the person do? And the person is me, actually.
It's you. Thank you for your vulnerability, and it's a very important question you ask here. So you're saying you're that person that is volunteering because you want to be out there, you want to be learning, you want to be visible, but it seems as if you're now doing too much and you're not quite sure what field it is, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So Elizabeth, you see, the work of identifying what you want is a work that you must sit with yourself and do, right? Now, I worked with a coach last year, Debola Dejikrumi, DDK as we popularly call her. And there were stages of your life that she would make you to run an assessment. I think there was a clarify stage, there was a consolidate stage, and there was a collaborate, consolidate. I don't remember the full stages now. But that clarify stage is a stage where you're trying to find out, it's like an introspective stage. Who am I? What do I want to do? What do I want to be known as? You have to ask yourself those questions, Elizabeth. You can't volunteer for everything. Take a one-day retreat. You yourself, a pen, a paper, your journal, and begin to think about what are the things that are important to you. What do you want to be known for? Like, I'm not necessarily interested in being a tech guru. I need technology to do all the things I want to do. I need it. So I need a basic knowledge of it, right? And I need people to help me. And when I need, I will outsource it. But I'm not necessarily interested in being a tech guru. So if you call me to help out in something technology, I may decline it, right? That's not my space. You need to ask yourself, what is it I want to be known for? Okay, Elizabeth, let me ask you, what's your main expertise? What did you study, or what are you working as right now?
Okay, I studied international studies and diplomacy. So presently, I'm a serving UCOP member. So the basic thing is that basically what I volunteer for are basically SDG goals. That's like what I volunteer for, and they are all under my, like they fall under what I study, because UN, I'm a model United Nations enthusiast. So basically what we do is not what we do, but basically my course has this 17 SDG goals that's under United Nations. So basically that's what I do. But then I think
Are you
that I'm
interested in
not
all 17 of them?
no, not in all, but then I sat myself down and picked at least 5 that I was interested in and I'm volunteering under. So the rest I'm not really volunteering under them. But then I feel like I'm stuck in
It's still
one
a lot.
place.
The 5 is
Yeah, like
as well.
okay.
5 is still a lot. I feel like you can still narrow it down to maybe your core 3. 3 sounds like a great number for me. And that way you're able to pursue more in depth as opposed to broadly. Because what it is that when you have too many, you're now chasing after things and you're now doing a lot of them surface level, broadly. But if you narrow it down to 2 or 3, and you're pursuing those 2 or 3, you find out that every opportunity that comes out, you just keep deepening your knowledge. It's like, that's why people study medicine for 7 years. You know, you're not doing it for 2 years, then you now want to go and do something you want. They want you to have an in-depth knowledge of the subject so that you become a subject matter. So Elizabeth, I'll say narrow down still to 2 or 3. Say these 2 or 3, I want to be known in this area. I want to be, so give me an example of 1 or 2 of the ones that you're doing right now under the 5
Climate change.
You know, climate is so big that climate on its own, you can find yourself truly busy. And climate is the future. So if you're really passionate about climate, hone in on climate. Which other one are you doing?
Quality education.
Quality education, good.
Yes.
Because of Africa, really, as well, we need that one. Which other one?
Then gender equality.
Gender equality.
Yes.
You know, those 3 are enough to keep you busy. I don't even want to know what the other 2 are. Those 3 are enough to keep you super busy. Now you're saying you feel like you're not making progress, but that's not true. Elizabeth, where you were in school and now, is there a huge difference? Why don't you do a track record analysis? Sit down and say to yourself, Elizabeth, as a graduate, what did I have? I had my degree, I had knowledge in my course, and maybe that was about it, right? What else? Did you do some volunteer work when you were in school? Oh, I think she dropped out.
Yeah, I just admitted her back in, so we should hear her in a couple of seconds.
So I know I'm speaking to Elizabeth, but I want you all to take something from this, because you can apply it to yourself. Elizabeth, are you back?
Yes, ma'am, back. Sorry for that.
So I'm saying sometimes we undermine the progress that we've made. You're saying you feel like you've not gained traction, but even without knowing you, it's not true. I can tell you it's not true. When you graduated from school, Elizabeth, what did you have? You had your degree, you had the knowledge, the academic knowledge of the course. And what else did you have? Did you volunteer while you were in school?
Yes, I did.
Okay, did you do a lot of volunteering work while you were in school?
Yes.
Okay, but since you came out of school, have you done a lot more volunteering work?
No.
So you've not had any opportunities since after you left school?
Yeah, because where I am actually, I'm in Ekiti State. So there's not much, because I left where I was in Edo State. So coming to Ekiti, like I came for service actually. So being here, it's like a new environment. I have to like get to meet new people that would help, like that would lead me in my field of work. So, and then the organization where I was, there's no city chapter here in Ekiti. So it's a little bit difficult for me to get volunteering jobs. Basically, that's
I'm going to tell you something. 2 things I'm going to tell you. Number 1, apply adaptability. You need to understand that you're in a new season. You just moved from somewhere to a new place. you need to give yourself time to settle in. You need to give yourself time to understand the environment. You need to give yourself time to, get into the system, as it were, of the new place that you're in. So while you're giving yourself that time, don't judge yourself that you're not progressing. Know that you are settling in, and then use that time and map out for yourself in the next 6 months, next 2 months, the next quarter, what do I want to have achieved? I would have settled down. I would have identified organizations I want to work with. By the end of my youth service year, what do I want to have achieved? So you start taking stock and writing that so that you become a visionary leader. But like I say, for now, apply adaptability. Then the second thing I want to say to you is, the world is a virtual world though, right now. Look for opportunities that are not just situated in Ekiti State. Are you not able to help out and volunteer and work through online platforms virtually? No? Are there no opportunities in your field like that? Her network is bad. Kitty net. Okay. Anyway, she has the record. She's going to get the recordings, right? Are they going to get the recordings? So Elizabeth, if you can hear me, I shared some insights with you, and hopefully if you get the recording, I said to you, we're in a virtual world. If you can't find the opportunities in Ekiti, you'll find it virtually, okay? So Elizabeth, I hope that has sorted you out, and then hopefully you'll get advice. You can reach out to me as well through the Institute if you really, really need some more guidance. Okay. So, so Gary, guys, back to you. I think